the small animals in the city because that's what they do, because they're savage, 67 IQ, uncivilized people, and they eat animals that they find in the street. So it's gone viral on social media. You know, I hate to be that guy, but I did predict this. I know, like, you're probably sick of hearing that. I know it sounds like, I know how it sounds. But I literally said this in February, did I not? Who's got the clip? In February, I said, look, you think it's bad now. And it is. You think it is, and it is. You think it's bad because black people are stealing your catalytic converter in broad daylight. They're coming there with a saw. They're sawing it off. You step outside. You say, hey, man, why are you stealing my catalytic converter? They're like, get your bitch ass inside before I kill your ass, bitch. And you're like, man, our country sucks. But these black people, the ones you know, these African Americans, their average IQ is about 85. It's about 85. And so they'll shoot you for no reason. They'll mug you. They'll take your phone. They'll destroy thousands of dollars worth of property to steal $20 from a cash register. They're total sociopaths, some of them. There's these super predators. They're total sociopaths. But you are not ready for real Africans. Because real Africans, on average, have an IQ of 65. Full standard deviation lower. Different animal altogether. No pun intended. Totally, this is a different kind of person we're talking about. You think it's bad when they're running after you, they're gonna kick the shit out of you, steal your iPhone, your AirPods. These people are gonna chase you down because they think you have gold nuggets inside your head, and they're gonna crack your skull open with crude stone tools to get it. That's a different ball game. They're gonna be chasing you like in the African savannah. They're gonna be throwing spears at your neck, at your throat, bow and arrow. And they're cannibals. They will eat your organs. They will literally gut you like a fish and eat your internal organs. You thought it was bad? Holding a gun sideways to your head? Hey, give me your money, bitch. You know, and sometimes they kill you, sometimes they let you go. But if they do, it's somewhat of a quick and painless death. And I said it from the start, this is advanced darkness. This is heart of darkness. This is the jungle drum. This is the fertility goddess of chaos. They're literally going to eat your balls. They're going to cut your fucking nuts off and eat them. They're almost not human. And that's exactly what, I said this in February. This is exactly what has happened. The Haitians are here. It's already too late. It's already too late. They're here. They're in Ohio. They're here. They're not in Florida. They didn't swim to Florida and you can quarantine it and nuke it. You can't put a fence up and bomb the shit out of them. They're in Ohio. What are you going to do now? They're everywhere. They're everywhere and they're multiplying. And they're coming to kill you and your family. And this is a story. This is from the New York Post. They're trying to downplay this. They're saying, oh, this isn't happening. The story is based on videos and witness testimony that these Haitian refugees have come into Ohio and they're eating the wildlife. They're eating the geese. They're eating the ducks. Local cats that are hanging out, they're eating the cats, stomping them in the head and then eating them raw. And the cops are taking pictures of their teeth. The black people I'm talking about. The cops are saying, oh, all right, open up. And they're pulling their lips open to take a picture of their bloody teeth where they've eaten a live cat. Like it's a pit bull. Like it's a pit bull. Let's say that. I was going to say like other exotic, things that rip people's faces off. We don't want to go there. Okay, the police are showing up. They're saying, hey, all right, hey, open up, bitch. All right, lady, open up, you Haitian broad. And they're taking pictures of the teeth. I saw the video. It went viral on Twitter. She's sitting on the ground eating a cat, and the cops are taking pictures of her mouth to show that she ate the cat. She's eating a cat outside. She didn't even, it's not even like Chinese people where the cats go missing and they grill it up and it's in the Moy Special. It's in the General Tso's, chicken or whatever. That's very cheap. I know that's very low-hanging fruit. Ha ha ha. Asians eat dogs and cats. But there's something to that. There is something to that. Yeah, Asians like capture and torture animals. Like, it is what it is. They're like aliens. It's what they do over there. This is like the jungle. This is like the jungle. This is like the plains of Africa. It's not even like Hong Kong, where they'll cook up anything. They're cooking up a giant praying mantis. There's like a giant bot fly flying around in the jungles of Vietnam. They skewer it. They put it on a grill. They feed it to you. It is what it is. It's what they do over there. It's the Paleolithic eon over there. They have Komodo dragons and giant dragonflies and giant bats, and they capture everything and they put it on a grill and they serve it to you on a stick. It's what they do. It's different. It's horrible and they have to stop that. But this is different. They're out there with the cats and the dogs. The Haitians have arrived in Ohio and they're out there with the cats and the dogs and the geese and the ducks. And they're like an invasive species. They're like a predator. It's like when they released the Burmese python in Florida and it's killing everything, or they release other things into like near Orlando in Florida. I'm not going to say what it is. And, it's like an invasive species. And now the Haitians have become the apex predator. It's like you've got snails, you've got rabbits, you've got possum, you've got raccoons, you've got deer, and then you've got a Haitian refugee, black as night, hanging out behind the pond, and they're going to grab your cat and gorge themselves. They call that dinner. That's dinner. They're running around screaming. They're running around with spears and everything. Hunting and gathering. Hunting and gathering. We're not talking about third world. You know what third world means? The first world was capitalism. The second world was communism. The third world was like unaligned. This isn't third world. Third world had motorcycles and Coca-Cola. Third world had some stuff going on. They had AK-47s. This is not third world. This is like Stone Age. This is Stone Age. Anyway. So they're doing their hunting and gathering. The cops are capturing them. Sometimes in giant nets. Sometimes in bags. They're throwing them in jail. They'd have no idea what to do with these people. We have to pretend that they're, we're going to give these people a driver's license. And all the media is telling us it's not happening. The New York Post says, well, we can't confirm whether she was Haitian. And we can't confirm what was going on there. She's eating a cat. And then they saw a guy eating a goose, and they said, well, it didn't happen in Springfield. It happened a little bit further away. Oh, okay. So they're spreading out now. They're taking over new territory. But this is a story from the New York Post. It says, quote, the craze began with an August meeting of the Springfield City Commission where a 28-year-old man claimed without evidence, where's your evidence, that Haitian migrants were beheading ducks at local parks and taking them home to eat. Hey, where's your source? Do you have a meta study? Do you have metadata to support this? The black man said they in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck, cutting their head off and walking up with them and eating them. That's how it's written. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the voice. That's how it's written. the man said, imploring the city commission to rein in the migrants. Also spreading online are grabs of a post made by someone in a Springfield Facebook group claiming a friend's cat went missing and then was purportedly seen strung up and butchered for dinner in a Haitian migrant's yard. One of the videos that went viral shows a woman who was arrested for eating a cat last month on the sidewalk outside of someone's house. Springfield has long been a largely white city. 70% of residents were white as of 2022, compared to 17% black and 5% Hispanic. But that white majority has been declining over the past 10 years, while minorities have been growing. The issue of Haitian migrants have become a flashpoint, a former manufacturing hub of 60,000 in Springfield between Dayton and Columbus. Over the last 4 years, the city's migrant Haitian population has grown 20,000 people, increasing Springfield's population by as much as 1/3. So there were 60,000 people. They dumped 20,000 Haitian migrants on top of them. Imagine, you're in a 70% white city, 60,000 people. It's a small to medium-sized city. They increase the population by 1/3. They're all from Haiti. This is a place that is a failed state that was founded with the genocide of all the white people on their side of the island. That's how the country got started. It was a slave revolt blessed by a satanic voodoo priestess. They murdered all the white people on the island. Ever since then, they've been eating mud and other human beings. And they've been a failed state for years because their corrupt government has been taking the oil money, which is a deferred payment on oil they've been getting from Venezuela, and embezzling it. And now the government has collapsed and warlords have taken control. Some of them are legitimate cannibals. And it's a giant trash island where the people eat mud, they make nothing, and they're cannibals. And we took 20,000 of them and put them in a white small town in Ohio of 60,000 and said, hey, go nuts. And now they're eating cats, ducks, geese, people's pets. This is what's going on in our country. Why are they here? Well, it's a legitimate question. Those are 20,000 Haitian refugees. That is what they are. They have been given temporary protected status by the government. Temporary protected status means they cannot be deported because they're political refugees, because they fled the catastrophic situation in Haiti. So they now will not be deported because they're protected. It's called TPS. And they moved to Springfield, Ohio, because some manufacturing has come back to the city. So go figure. The town was hollowed out, deindustrialized, and it shrank. Manufacturing comes back, and they bring in 20,000 Haitian refugees to take the jobs. And the Haitians start eating everybody's pets. That's why they're here. That's where they came from. Now, there's something curious that happens here where people look at the situation. It's obviously objectionable. We don't want these fucking people here. No one wants to live near them. And that's happening over there. It's not happening where I live. It's probably not happening where you live. This specific situation, although something similar is happening, probably. So that's happening over there. But they're going to end up somewhere. And that's the tip of the iceberg. There's more. Donald Trump, the last thing he did as president was give Venezuelans temporary protected status. That's why you've probably seen a lot of Venezuelans near you. And they're not eating cats, but they might as well be. They're stealing everything from Walgreens and selling it outside on the street. So they're just as bad. But they're bringing these people here. They're dumping them. We don't fucking want them here. Venezuelan, Haitian, Congolese, Indian, what? I don't fucking want them here. I don't want to live. And you want to know why? Because where you live is your home. It's your neighborhood. We may think we're global citizens and the internet has gotten rid of borders, but not really, because you live in a neighborhood that is circumscribed by transportation, walking distance, biking distance, driving distance, public transportation. And that dictates the restaurants, grocery stores, schools, places of business that you go to. And everything is still actually spatial. Last I checked, we still live in a temporal spatial plane, a reality. And so these people are coming to America. They're not being settled in Nevada. They're not being settled in the great expanse between California and Iowa. They're coming to every city. They're coming to neighborhoods. They're coming in large numbers. They're being dumped on small towns. And guess what? Someday it's going to be your town. One day you're going to wake up and there's going to be a third of the population in your city is from a country like Haiti. And what they do is kill and eat cats and dogs in the street. And now that's just your life. So the house that you bought, the community you live in, the schools your children go to, your culture, your history, everything that you've got is now being literally taken from you, colonized by the worst foreigners in the world. I can't imagine a worse place that they could come from other than Haiti. Maybe the Congo? But certainly it's in like the bottom 10. I'd rather have North Koreans. I'd rather have Syrians. I'd rather have a lot of things than Haitians. But one day you wake up and they're coming to your school and they're filling up your hospitals and they're driving down your streets and they don't know how to drive. They don't wear shoes. They don't know how to drive. One Haitian, this was in 2023, 36-year-old Haitian immigrant lost control of his minivan. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Without a valid U.S. license on a highway near Springfield and straight into the path of an oncoming school bus. The bus driver swerved to avoid him. It careened off the road and threw an 11-year-old from a window and fatally crushed him as it rolled. 20 other children were hospitalized. A Haitian with a 67 IQ from Haiti who should have never been here. This guy was driving a minivan without a valid license. He's from the fucking island of Haiti where they murdered all the white people to establish their little slave colony. It's what it was a slave rebellion. It didn't work out so well. They don't make anything, so they have to eat mud and people. Now they're all here, and now they're in a highway outside Springfield crashing into school buses full of your children. I don't want to live near these people. I don't like these people. I don't know these people. I don't want to live anywhere near them. I don't want to live anywhere near them. I don't want to live next to them. I don't want to live close to them where they're driving on the highway near me. I don't want to live where they're going to the schools. I don't want to live where they're in the hospitals. I don't want to be anywhere near these people. Why would I? Let me tell you a little history of Haiti. 200 years ago, Haiti was a French colony. The Haitians, the black ones, were enslaved. They got together in the forest, and a voodoo priestess made a human or a pig sacrifice. It's debated what it was. She smeared blood on her face, and they declared a slave rebellion. They went out and they murdered every white colonist on the island based on their skin color. Murdered every white person on the island. It's the best real estate in the world. It's a beautiful island. It's in the Caribbean. People vacation there. Not in Haiti, but nearby. And in the past 200 years, they have run it into the ground. They're now known for having one of the lowest GDP per capita in the world. Their government has collapsed. Their government was embezzling money for years, money that should have been going to oil from Venezuela, Venezuela's communist dictatorship let them defer payments so they could invest in social programs. Government just stole the money. Venezuela demanded the money when they had some trouble selling their oil, and then the government collapsed. Now it's run by cannibalistic warlords. Now that these slaves can't figure it out, now that these, what are they calling them now? At Howard University, they're calling them enslaved people. Sorry, they weren't slaves, they were enslaved people. Now the descendants of the enslaved people and their glorious anti-white slave rebellion are literally eating each other because they can't figure out how to create or maintain any kind of functional society. Any level of civilization that would even be remotely recognizable to ancient peoples. So they're being rescued by the racist country that was founded by slave owners and brought here. Well, I don't want them here, and I don't want to live near them, and I don't think anyone should have to live anywhere near them. This is the United States of America. This is a country that was once the envy of the world. We put a man on the moon. We reverse engineered the flow of the Chicago River. We built the Hoover Dam. We invented the iPhone. We invented human flight. And now we have the bubonic plague and typhus and cannibalism and people eating bushmeat, practically. People eating pets and stringing them up outside like it's Africa. We're going backwards in time, and it's being imposed on us. And whenever you talk about this obviously objectionable situation, people tell us it has something to do with culture. People say it has something to do with legal status. They say, well, they have to come legally. I don't think Haitians should be coming here at all. I don't think a single Haitian should come here at all, ever, period. First of all, they've got it all figured out. Second of all, they killed all the white people. Third of all, they can't get it together. So not a single one of them should ever come here, ever. They should be banished, and they should be left to figure it out. You're so smart. You don't want the white people to help out? Well, now you can help yourselves. I don't care if it's legal or illegal. Secondly, the idea that not eating cats in the streets has something to do with culture is insane. This has nothing to do with culture. This has to do with the blood. This has to do with who we are. I don't know when the last time Europeans have ever done that would be. Last I checked, European people were raising livestock for thousands of years, eating things like cattle, beef, pork, chickens, harvesting wheat. I think you'd have to go into the tens of thousands of years before Europeans were doing the hunting and the gathering thing. And they say that's a matter of culture. They have not acclimated to our culture yet. When they're eating cats, when they're eating people, they're engaging in cannibalism and they're murdering people, committing rape in Europe. And they say, well, there's one viral video, an African migrant comes to France and says, well, I wouldn't want to rape a woman because, you know, what if I got an STD? That wouldn't be so good. That's a matter of culture. We can say it's a matter of culture. Okay, but it's a profound difference in culture. We're talking thousands of years of development behind. You can call it culture. But let's be honest about the chasm that separates us. White kids go to school. They like to learn about computers. They make a computer game. They invent Facebook. They invent iPhones. White people go in their garage. They tinker with computers. They invent Microsoft. They invent Apple. White people take an interest in flight when they're a little boy. They become an astronaut. They fly a rocket ship. They land on the moon. This is what white people do. Haitians come here, they see a cat roaming around in the street, they catch it, they cut its head off, they eat it on the spot without cooking it. It's culture. We're going to talk about whether they have their papers. We are going to insist upon this ideological notion that it has nothing to do with race. Are you sure about that? Are you sure it has nothing to do with race? Are you sure it has nothing to do with race, which is why racial minorities in America do infinitely better than they do in the majority in their home countries? That's why they prefer this country every time. It has nothing to do with race. Every single country, without exception, in sub-Saharan Africa, as well as Haiti, as well as the African populations in Europe and China and the United States, are persistently, chronically failing. It has nothing to do with race. What happens in the year 2100 when there are 4 billion Africans in the world? There's 1.39, 1.4 billion Africans now. What happens in 2100 when there's 4 billion Africans? All the population growth is coming from Nigeria, Namibia, Botswana, the Congo, Ethiopia. The immigration was coming from Latin America when their population was booming. The immigration is coming from India now that their population is booming. What happens in the next century when the population booms in Africa? And in the future, we see more refugee crises, lack of water, lack of critical resources, and they're trying to come to Europe and the United States. What defense will we have? What ideological, socially constructed narrative, what defense will we have insisting that it has nothing to do with race when they're banging on our doors in ever greater numbers? Are we going to keep bringing them in here and become surprised? And by the way, everyone recognizes this is the worst of the worst. Haitians are coming over here. We don't want them. They killed all the white people. Let them rot on their island. And even, the Africans here, by the way, a lot of the black people here, they're so proud. They're so arrogant, ungrateful. They build nothing. They go and they work in some school and their job is yelling at white people about racism. That's all they can talk about is racism, the slavery, enslaved people. They manipulate language for a living. Send them to Haiti. Send them to Haiti where they killed all the white people. Send them to Haiti where they threw off their chains. But by the way, everyone recognizes the situation in Haiti is ridiculous. We don't want them here. Maybe a smaller number recognize the situation in Venezuela. They're doing the same thing in Venezuela. In Venezuela, they kidnap people. They're eating animals. It's brutal. They've got the lowest average IQ out of all the Hispanic countries as well. They're coming here. They're stealing everything. They send them to the Oak Brook Mall, the nicest mall in Chicago. They send them here on buses. They steal. They get caught. They get released. They go into Walgreens. They steal the whole store. They're walking up and down the streets selling Starbursts and M&Ms. But let's think about all diversity. Let's just be honest. This country was 90% white for 300 years, from the time they landed at Plymouth Rock. And the country expanded from the small settlements to the colonies, then across the West. From 1600 until 1970, for nearly 400 years, this country was all white. And you talk about Indians, I'm not talking about Indians. I'm talking about the always growing white empire of the United States of America. You can call me Mexican, you can say my last name's Hispanic, I don't care. This is the truth. This country had a very high level of development when it was all white people. White people came here and the Indians were cutting each other's heads off. You can look into the kinds of battles that happened, the American Indian Wars in Texas. and what some of these Indians would do, how they would boil people alive, scalp them, cut their skin off, cut their faces off, bury them alive. It was brutal. We came here, there was no development. There was no wheel, there were no horses, there were no guns, no ships, no compass, no navigation, no printing press, no gospel. We came here. We had a very high level of development. We became the greatest empire in the world. We created factories and cars, and we took flight. We invented computers and the internet and medicine and everything. Everything. We landed on the moon. And ever since roughly 1965, we have been subjected to unending waves of non-European immigration. It was English, and then it was English and German, and then it was Irish, and then it was Italians and other people. The black people were emancipated, and then it was all these other people. Then it was Hispanics, then it was Asians, then it was everybody. And now look at our country. Now our country is filthy and unrecognizable, and we don't make anything, and crime is rampant, and there's chaos everywhere. And you see these kinds of behaviors: homeless encampments, petty theft, people that don't speak English, they don't even care to. They have an aloof attitude. When you talk about things like the Pledge of Allegiance or the flag, they have an aloof disdain, almost not even a disdain, a complete apathy about any of it. And we have to continue to insist, no, it has nothing to do with race and everything to do with culture. Well, I'm waiting for these hordes of people who are underperformers on standardized tests, underperformers in the economy. I'm waiting for these masses of immigrants, not the ones that are selected through a certain immigration process like a work visa or the lottery or something like that. I'm talking about the hordes, the millions and millions of millions. I'm waiting for these people to get on our fucking level. I'm waiting for them to accept our culture and start to behave. But I'm not going to hold my breath, because I don't think that race is just skin deep. I don't think that race is just a construct. I think that genetics has a lot to do with behavior and aptitude and performance, and I think it's a big reason. It's not the only reason, but it's a big reason why the country is failing. Everybody likes to look at resources and land and culture as determinative in the development of a country, but we all like to pretend that genetics plays no role at all. It's all culture, it's all language, it's all resources, it's all land, it's all political structures. It's nothing to do with genetics. That is simply not the case. And here's the question. People say it's race. How I'm talking right now is racist, they say. And by the way, I don't want to live next to the Haitians. I don't want to live next to their long-lost cousins. I don't want to live next to the Venezuelans. I want to live in a white neighborhood. And people say, well, you're Italian, Mexican, and Irish. Well, I'd love to live in a neighborhood that's Italians and Irish and people that are, a quarter Mexican. I'd prefer, fine, if the English and German WASPs, if they want to banish me to the Italian, Irish, Mexican neighborhood, fine. I don't want to live next to these other people. And people say that's racist. They say that's racist to object to what we're being subjected to right now. And so maybe it is. But what would you prefer? Do you want to live in the racist country or the not racist country? Because in the racist America, there's a man on the moon, and everyone's gathered around the television set to watch Johnny Carson. And a young man can take a young lady to the city on public transportation and not worry about being shot or molested by homeless people. And they could go and enjoy the fountain without the stench of weed. And they could go to a nice restaurant and no one's wearing a baseball cap or basketball shorts or sweatpants or socks and slides because there are standards and no one's afraid to enforce them out of fear of being called racist. And over there in the not-racist country, well, people are biting the heads off of cats, local cats, in the street. People are getting shot all the time. The cereal boxes are behind a locked glass container at Walgreens. There are no Walmarts because there is too much shoplifting. There is no luxury designer anything anymore. There's no business, no commerce. Fast food restaurant is like a bank because too many people are breaking the windows and throwing tables and getting in fistfights. So maybe it's racist to talk like this, but what kind of country do you want to live in? And what kind of country, here's a better question, what kind of neighborhood do you want to live in? Because that's really where we live. We don't live in a country, we live in a neighborhood. We don't live in America. We live in the 30-minute city, the 30-minute radius where it's reasonable to drive on a daily basis. And I want to live in the racist neighborhood where we're not going to get the school bus ran off the highway by a Haitian migrant without a driver's license. I don't want to live in the neighborhood where Walgreens put all the goods behind a glass container because people keep stealing them. I don't want to live in the neighborhood where the high school cancels a homecoming game because they found a gangbanger's gun in his car in the parking lot. I don't want to live in that neighborhood. And people can call it racist, but increasingly you realize it doesn't matter as long as you're calling it racist from the outside. And that's the kind of mindset we need to have. We need people that are solid, and we need people that have their priorities straight. And people can call it racist. We just need to make sure that they're not inside of it. And we need to take care of ourselves because you can expect a lot more of this. The country is only getting less white. The world is getting less white. And the consequences are very plain to see. They can deny it. They can quibble about the numbers. They can bury the lead. We can see it. We live in reality. We've all witnessed it in real time. Does it matter to protect what we have? Does it matter to try to preserve or perpetuate or rebuild what we have lost? Or are we so afraid of offending people that hate us and can barely conceal it that we're going to give it all away in order not to make them uncomfortable? I think about people like Sneeko, and I like Sneeko. Sneeko's a friend of mine. But I saw a clip from Sneeko the other day, and he says, white supremacist this, white supremacist that. You say we was kings, but you say we was Aryans. And it's like, you know, I like Sneeko, but he's not white, and I don't care that it makes him uncomfortable. I don't care. He may think I'm racist. He may think I'm a white supremacist. I don't care. I don't care. Because he and other mixed race or non-white people can say whatever they want, but they can't take away our glorious ancestry, and they can't take away our legacy, which is coursing through our veins. Yes, actually, your genetics, your blood, it does count for something. And we can't give that up because we don't want to have an awkward encounter with the non-white people that we know in our lives. They're not bad people. And we don't have to hate them. And if they don't like what we have to say, we don't have to reciprocate their animosity. We don't have to get emotional about it. But we do have to be absolutely rock solid about what we care about and what our priorities are. And by the way, I am the worst candidate to say this because my ancestors were kind of degenerates. Some of them were good and some of them were bad. but a lot of them were criminals. But I see what's going on in the country. And I feel very sad about the prospect that so many intangible, subtle things are going away that are irrecoverable. Subtle little things, craftsmanship, standards, institutions. And it's not all a race problem. There's a lot of problems. But that is one of the ones that you're not allowed to talk about. We can talk about a lot of problems, but I mean, we can't even really begin the conversation unless we're willing to go there. You know? And and I'm not picking on Sneeko. I like Sneeko. But for what it's worth, the guy's not white. He hangs out with non-white people that aren't even American. He's hanging out with all these like Arab Londoners. They're not white. They're not American. He's hanging out in with this third world religion. And why would we care? He says we're white supremacists. That's not very Christian. It's like, okay, so you're not Christian. You don't even see a future in America. You're not white. You don't really appreciate white culture. Why do I care if you're uncomfortable? That's where white people need to go. And actually even further. Black people don't care about offending us. Black people don't care about our shit. And, if it's up to them, it's all going to go. That goes for all of them. Hispanics too. A lot of Hispanics as well. And, don't get me wrong. There are black people that appreciate our culture, and, that's great. And there's Hispanics that appreciate our culture. But I think it's clear the vast majority of any race, except for whites, is very tribal. Let's be honest. What do they call a black person that doesn't talk like a ghetto person? They say you're an Uncle Tom. If you're a black person that talks ghetto, they say you're an Uncle Tom. What does that mean? They're calling that person a race traitor. And probably the vast majority of black people are tribalistic in that way. They're race loyal. And the same is true on some level of Hispanics. Hispanics, they have no respect for the customs and institutions of America. Some of them might, but we know the vast majority of them don't. And on some level, you can't blame them because that's what they know. But we can't blame ourselves for looking out for our own interests and our own quality of life. The Haiti example is extreme, but that is a microcosm of what is happening to America. 60,000 people, 20,000 Haitians show up, and they start messing everything up. They don't belong there. They gotta go. It's a microcosm of America. America was doing fine. Think about the 80s. Think about the 90s. We had problems. But not like this. Bubonic plague wasn't one of them. So it's a question of how you want to live. On some level, it's inevitable. America's going to become a majority-minority country. We need to find neighborhoods where we can live. We need to create a neighborhood, a state, something where we can live. Is that not our right? Do we have to live among Haitians? Because that is in effect what they're telling us. If we said we're going to go to Idaho, or we're going to go wherever, New Hampshire, Washington State, wherever, Arkansas, if we said we were going to go somewhere and we were going to colonize a city and we're going to say, look, we only want certain kinds of people. Maybe you could have some black people or something, but we want it to be 90% white. Let's say that. They wouldn't let you. The government would not let you. And what they're telling you is that you must accept racial diversity. Why? Why? I've never understood that question. If diversity is such a strength, but you reject it, then, well, more for everybody else, right? Wrong. You have to take it. You might not want it. You might not see the enormous value. You're going to have it crammed down your throat no matter what. Why? If it's such a blessing, why? There's a very deep answer to that question. We'll get into it someday. Well, we've been into it before, but people should reflect upon that. Why? They talk about, there's black neighborhoods where it's all black people. No one bothers them about that. I wonder why. No one wants to rush and go live there. I wonder why. And no one cares that no one's doing that. I wonder why. But if a bunch of white people got together and said, hey, we're going to go live over here. We like you. We don't hate you, but we just want to, this is how we want to live. We want to be among people that are like us. You're racist. Yeah, well, maybe we are, but that's how we like it. No, you can't do it. You can't do it. HUD will come in with Section 8. They'll come in and say, there's not enough diversity. We're bringing in the refugees. We're bringing in the Section 8. And you have to have diversity here. Why? Why are they doing it everywhere in the world? There is an agenda to get rid of us. I mean, it's really, I know that sounds conspiratorial, but what else could you make of it other than that? There's no agenda like that in China. There's 1.5 billion Chinese people in the world. There's not 1 billion white people in the world. Or there might be like 1 billion altogether. There's 1.5 billion Chinese. There's going to be 1.5 billion Indians. There's 1 billion Africans, 1 billion whites, and it's dropping off a cliff. And in every country, we're being replaced. And I feel like no one wants to just talk about that. What if we don't want that to happen? Why is it wrong because we're white? Japan doesn't want it. South Korea doesn't want it. That's fine. When white people don't want the diversity, it's a big problem. What is it about being white that they want to disrupt and diversify and divide and collapse all of our societies into what we all know is going to be chaos? And they've already made the decision for us that this is acceptable. What if we don't want that? What if whites want to sit on our pile of gold and enjoy it? We invented the iPhone. We invented the internet. We invented all this stuff. What if we want to sit on our pile of technology and gold and everything and enjoy it? They're coming in and saying, no, you have to have Haitians, Venezuelans, Congolese. You have to have all these people. And we say, we don't want them. They bring problems. And someone is telling us, well, it just has to be this way. That's an acceptable loss. Haitians forcing your children's school bus off the road is an acceptable loss. It has to happen. Why? Who's telling us that? Why does it have to happen? Why does it have to happen? Why do we have to deal with any of it? I mean, what is the nature of this democratic society that these people that don't make anything, people that don't pay taxes, they don't salute the flag, they don't love our country, they don't feel a part of it. You don't feel a part of it? Get the fuck out. They don't feel a part of it, yet they vote. They don't feel a part of it, yet they take. They don't feel a part of it, yet they're here and not somewhere else where they'd be more comfortable, where the people that look like them are running the show. They don't go there. They want it over here. And if you try to get away from it, they chase you. It's bullshit. Everyone's sick of it. Everyone is sick of the diversity. And they're making it so that you can't have a problem with it because, these people are so integrated and now every frat has their Indian friend or whatever. Every frat now has a handful of, exotic people in there. Oh, oh, that guy's on my frat, bro. He's cool. It's just like, it's so fucked up. Whatever. So anyway, so I don't know. I feel like no one will just look. It is racial. It is super controversial. It might rightfully be called racist. But everything I'm expressing is legitimate grievance, and they want to criminalize even that. This fundamental transformation is occurring. It's bullshit. Everyone hates it. No one can talk about it. People that talk about it get banned online, socially ostracized, made to feel guilt. Why should I feel guilt? These are real problems. This is a really big, irreversible transition our country's undergoing. And it's just a foregone conclusion. Not good. So that's your Haitians, man. 20,000 Haitians dropped on your town. And yeah, people start taking, even the black people there say, hey, man, they're eating cats. And the New York Post is going to come in and say, no, that's not happening. It's not real. Okay, so 20,000 Haitians did come here. And yeah, like they are eating things, but it's not real. What are those people supposed to do? Move? What happens when there's nowhere to move to? This happens to you. It's imposed. It's inflicted on you. No one wants it, but it's inflicted on you. Then logically you say, well, if they're not going to leave, we got to go. So you go somewhere else, but then they come there too. What happens when there's nowhere to go? It's happening in England. It's happening in France. It's happening in Germany. It's happening in Italy. It's happening in Sweden. It's happening in Texas, in Illinois, in Ohio, in Florida. Where do you go? At some point, where do you go? It's gone. That place that we grew up in, where people are playing Little League Baseball and not fucking cricket, where people are eating ice cream and they're not eating shawarma. They're not eating whatever it is. The seasonal fruit water. It's gone. Eventually, it is going to be gone. And people don't realize that. You are going to be ruled over and lorded over by people like Kamala Harris, increasingly foreign elements. She's not even a fucking American. She didn't live in America. Her parents are immigrants. She's black. She's not even really black. She's Jamaican and Indian. Her parents are immigrants. She didn't even live here for her childhood. She came back here for college, and now she's going to be the president. And it's going to be more of that. It's going to be Vivek and Kamala. It's going to be Nikki Haley and Stacey Abrams. This is our future. That's the president. That's the Congress. That's the corporate board. They got rid of DEI. They're going to flood it with Chinese and Indians. Hey, congratulations. It's not Jews running the Ivy Leagues. Now it's Chinese and Indians. And this is your America. It's gone. It's over. And it's racial. They look different. They are different. It's going to be a different country. Okay? I know it's so racist to be upset about that, but it's what it is. And there's nowhere to go. The same thing is happening in Western Europe. So you're going to look to your right, look to your left. Diversity on all sides. Third world on all sides. Go to Europe, go to Canada, go to Australia, same situation. There's nowhere to go unless you're really, really rich, and then you're going to be around a lot of Jews. Jews and other, elite, a Sudanese doctor, a Nigerian, whatever, Indian programmer. Congratulations, they defeated racism. Aren't you happy? Aren't you glad? The passing of the great race, it's over. It's what it is. It's what it is. People don't want to hear it, but it's true. Vivek wants to tell us, yeah, but it's not so bad. Okay, Vivek. Okay, Vivek. Now give me some more crickets. Now give me some more whatever you guys eat over there. Give me some more naan. So, it's very sad. It's a very sad state of affairs. But anyway, but that's that. I want to move on. We're gonna move on. What is this? A 2.5 hour show? We haven't even gotten into the super chats. Anyway, so I don't know if you guys can relate to anything I'm saying. Maybe I'm off the. Press once if you're relating to what I'm saying. Press 2 if you disagree. This is what you're not allowed to say. Everyone's allowed to do a PC version of this. Oh, it's the third world. Oh, it's the culture. No one's allowed to say what it is. Like, but this is what it is. All ones. You're allowed to say it's a culture. It's the illegals. They vote the wrong way. It's like, I'm just sick of the BS, man. Vivek, you're a very nice man, but I'd like to live in a white country. Listen, Vivek, you're a really nice guy. You're very smart. Maybe India could use you. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe India could get a lot out of you. What about our homeland? What about our home? Is there anywhere where the white man can feel at home, where a white American can feel at home? What happened to Frank Sinatra and Christmas in New York and Coca-Cola? What happened to all that? Now we have the Haitians and the Venezuelans and their vibrant diversity.